What's up, everyone? This is going to be a short live. I just want to, voice my opinions for the record. Doing the unaliving of Charlie Kirk, a lot of things came to light. A lot of things was said that you can't take back now. It's public record. It's on record. A lot of people exposed themselves. A lot of people were so angry that they came out of the woodwork and they started saying some things that for a while had only been bubbling beneath the surface, but they finally had the courage to say what they wanted to say out loud. And all it took was a tragic event, in which they thought that a minority had actually taken and unalived one of their own. And so they were ready to declare war on, the minority, blacks, Hispanics. And they were ready to do it immediately. They were crying out for blood. You had men, white men, white women. They were saying the same thing. They were unified in what they were saying. They wanted to unalive some black people. They wanted to unalive some minorities. They were saying, we're not going to take it anymore. We're coming for you. Because in their mind, they were certain. They were convinced that the unaliving had been done by the people they hate the most anyway. So without even thinking, without even doing any type of investigation, they said, we're going to go do something about it. We're not going to stand by and allow this to keep happening. We're getting ready to take some matters into our own hands. And Trump, if you don't do anything, we're going to do it. Let me just tell you something. There was even the governor of Utah, who said that he had been in prayer for over 30 hours praying that it was someone that looked like either me or someone from probably one of those Hispanic countries that had actually done the crime. And he had prayed to his God. Please don't let it be one of us. Let it be one of them to have done this horrendous deed. But guess what? God did not answer his prayers. It was a foolish prayer to begin with. And since God really don't hear the prayers of ignorant people anyway, that prayer went unanswered. And he received probably the shock of his life that it was one of their own brethren, one of the good Christians in the community, good Mormon in the community, who had done this horrendous deed. But going back to my earlier statement, you can't undo what now has been done. You can't unsay what has been said. What you said came from the heart. And I want you to know that throughout history, wars have been started because of people who look like me. There were white men who had us in slavery. They were refusing to allow us to be free, and other white men came and said, this is not right. We want them to be free as well. In which the owners said, we'll go to war for this. And guess what? They went to war. They started a civil war over black people. Isn't that amazing? And since that time, it has the anger, the resentment, because they lost that war, has been festering since. And they hate us for no reason. They look at us and just begin to hate us. They talk about us when we're not around. They talk about us in their quiet places and at their dinner tables. And we're always the topic of discussion now. But they never seem to actually take that mirror and turn it around to themselves. Because if you look at it, the majority of unaliving in this country is done by the hands of people that look like them. They do the most unaliving in this country. But for some reason, they always think that it's the minorities in this country who are doing the most unaliving. And that is because of the mainstream media, especially the one that's called XOF. They do a lot of propaganda. They do a lot of mind control on their followers. And if you are one of the followers of that daily broadcast, you're presented a barrage of misinformation. If digested daily, it can actually cause you to become insane. Watching a lot of these mainstream far right media organizations is not good for your mental health. It actually sends you down a dark rabbit hole, and it will cause you to start looking at the world through lenses that are not really rose-colored. You will start looking at the world through hateful lenses, and you will want everyone that does not look like the predominant majority right now, the majority population, the predominantly majority population, you will start wanting to eradicate them. And I'm here to say that we as Black people, we're minding our own business. We have been doing this for a while. We really are not out here bothering people, and we really don't want trouble. We don't want drama. We don't want you following us around stores. Many of you have the misconception that we're there to do something, when in fact, we really just want to be left alone. If we're there to shop, we want to shop in peace and get the hell on out of there. If we're there to sightsee, we want to sightsee and be left alone. But in this type of society that we live in, we can't be by ourselves. We can't really start a business without someone getting angry. We can't actually go to the forest or to the park without someone following us in the park or in the forest and maybe doing some horrendous things to us. So I'm here to let you all know that you have rung a bell. You rung a bell, and you can't unring it. We even heard a large, vast, I think they were having either a gathering or a march or a demonstration where they were calling, "White men unite, white men fight, white men fight, white men unite." What kind of dumb sense is that? Because when the identity of the shooter had been revealed, all you heard then from the right was crickets. They could not believe that a white T guy had actually unalived Charlie Kirk. And like I say, none of us condone unaliving. None of us condone that type of behavior. But guess what? It was done by YT on YT violence. And when that happens, you can't drag someone else in to fit the profile that you have created in your mind, hoping that it is one of the people you detest and hate the most. That's never rational in a society that we call a free society. That is not rational behavior. It is irrational thinking, especially when the proof is in the pudding. The proof is staring you in the face. When you see the evidence that this guy had a grudge, one of these little, what are they called? Groupers, gophers, or whatever they're called. They had some beef with the other part of MAGA, the other part of the alt-right that they did not like. So they had been following this guy around for months, if not years, and until one of them had the courage to do the unthinkable. Now, think about this. On the left, we have had unalivings. There have been political leaders of ours unalived. The right rejoiced. They did not show any compassion, empathy, sympathy. They did not even send thoughts and prayers. They were happy that someone on the left had been taken out. But now during this time, They're asking for sympathy, understanding, which should be given to the widow and the children and the family. But what about the people before them? What about the kids in schools who are tragically unalived? What about all of the homeless people who are unalived? Shouldn't they be given that same type of consideration? So this is just something you need to think about. When something happens that does not fit your profile, your mental profile, that it was one of the bad ones that did it, one of the minorities that did it. That's not to say that some minorities aren't engaged in crime. Human beings have dark sides. We have duality. We have good and bad pulling us at different times. It's really up to the individual which part of their dual nature they will actually adhere to. Some people actually listen to the dark side of their dual core, but others choose to do what's right. So that's the message that I'm giving this morning. Too many of you came out, and you came out full-throated and full-chested, saying what you were going to do and what you were going to engage in and who you were going to hurt. We have it on record. And it doesn't matter how many of these social media platforms try to erase it. It is part of historical record. We heard you loud and clear. But I want to leave you with a word of caution. We are not our ancestors. We don't like to be bothered. We don't like to be the scapegoat for your mental gymnastics. But make no mistake, don't cross a line that you're not willing to actually receive the consequences from. Don't cross a line that you're not willing to stand and find out what happens. Because in this day and age, you can FAFO. You can be part of that FAFO movement, that you hurt somebody who had no intentions of hurting you, but in the end, you FAFO'd and you became part of the story. So leave people alone. Get it out of your minds that people are after you. It's really MAGA that is giving the U.S. the most problems, giving the world most problems. Let's try to remember this all started years ago with a person named Trump who had doubts that then President or candidate Obama was not born in this country. And he harassed that man for I don't know how many years until the man presented his short form birth certificate. The man presented his long form birth certificate. The guy almost had to give an ounce of blood to get his DNA tested because so many in this country were doubting that he was an American citizen when in fact he was an American citizen. So let that sink in. We all are Americans. You may not like us. You don't even have to respect us. But we're here and we're not going anywhere. In fact, we're here to stay. So I made this live and I want you to comment. I don't care about your political standing. I don't care if you left or right. But go into the comments and tell me if I'm wrong or right. I can take it. Go into the comments and tell me, did I go too far? Or did I not go far enough? Trust me, I can take it. And I want us to start looking at who's dividing us in this country. I want us to start looking at who keeps trying to push us into altercations with each other. Who's sitting back in Washington and ringing the bell and saying, go for it? They never are engaging in it themselves, but they're constantly pushing you into it. They did it on January the 6th. They're doing it now, and you're falling for it. You're falling for it again. Pay attention, America. The minority and the middle class in this country, we have really nothing to fight over. But there are some powerful people in this country who love the division among the class systems, or the caste systems, I would say. They love the division and they want to keep us fighting so that we're not paying attention to the important things, such as the Epstein files, the money that is being taken out of our treasury. Who's getting the most? Who's benefiting the most? They want to keep us distracted. Wake up! It's not black and white. It's really rich against poor. You need to wake up and understand that you're being played. You're being played like an out-of-tune piano, and they're playing the keys, and you're just the victims of a terrible symphony. Wake up, everyone. There's a lot of work to be done, and we shouldn't be fighting among ourselves. We should look at who's pitting us against one another. So until next time, follow me. If you haven't followed me, follow me. I'm on all social media under Charles Van Horn 53. I'm easy to find. Find me under that handle and become a follower. Thank you once again, and I hope you have a great day.